Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Zephyr Chung with Iris Diecast, and today I'm going to compare the build quality of two budget model car brands, Maisto and Motormax, and determine which of them makes better cars. So, Maisto and Motormax are both budget model manufacturers, and their models usually go around $30 to $40 in the US new, and 35 to 55 here in Korea. So Maisto has a huge lineup, even bigger if you consider the ones that are discontinued, while Motormax's lineup is comparatively small, and nowadays they seem to be focusing more on their 124 scale cars, and their 118 lineup has remained unchanged, or at least very little change over the last few years. They do have some models that they have made in common, like the Chrysler PT Cruiser, the Chrysler 300C, Ford Deluxe, Mercedes SLK, Dodge Viper, etc. And for this video, we have two nearly identical Chrysler 300C Hemis. Now, one thing before we get started is that the results may differ from car to car, even if it's the same Maisto or Motormax car, the quality is not always the same, and therefore what seems to be the better brand in this video may not apply to other models as well. So let's start with the front of the model. The front looks very similar, although the Motormax version, which is the one on the right, has a larger front grille. I'm not too sure, but I think the Maisto's casting is more accurate. They both have two pegs in the headlamps, but the Motormax version has a larger peg, and the Maisto version has a smaller peg. They both use chrome parts for the grills and the bumper here, although the Maisto version, which is the one on the left, is a little bit more worn. I can't really say that Motormax Chrome is better because I got both of these cars used, and obviously the Motormax version was taken care of better than the Maisto car. They both use separate plastic parts for the fog lights down here with pegs inside them. And the funny thing is, while the Motormax version has an open hole here and a blocked hole here, it's the opposite for the Maisto car. The hole here is blocked while the hole here is open, which I found a little bit interesting. So here is the engine room of both cars. They're both made in a single piece of plastic, so there's one part for the whole engine, which is actually a pretty common trait on cheaper cars. The Maisto version paid attention to smaller details, like the stickers here and there, but the Motormax version has a little bit more depth to the engine, and I think it's a little bit more detailed in my opinion. Like the lines over here and there are a little bit more detailed and distinct compared to the Maisto car, which is a little bit more blurred, let's say. So moving on to the side, they both use these cheap looking chrome rims with fixed disc brakes inside them, which are stationary even if the rims move. So here's the Maisto's rims. And here is the Motormax rim. I personally like the Motormax version better because although it looks more cheap, it looks cooler on the outside because it's bigger than the Maisto's rims. The Motormax has some really small side mirrors compared to the size of the car, and like I said earlier, I think the overall accuracy of the casting is better on the Maisto version. However, the Motormax version comes with front and rear windows, which stops the dust from getting in, and most importantly, the rear doors open on the Motormax car, while on the other hand, the Maisto version only has windows in the rear, and the rear door doesn't open at all. This is a common trait for Maisto vehicles. Oftentimes in a car with 4 doors, only the front 2 open, although there are some notable exceptions like the Hummer H2, and the Mercedes CLS, etc. However, having opening parts in a cheap die-cast car can mean that there will be an opening parts gap, which is exactly the case with the Motormax version here. And to make the matters worse, the rear doors don't even close properly on my car, and I've seen other cars with similar problems. They both used separate chrome parts for the door handles here, but while this line is part of the body on the Maisto version, the Motormax version uses a separate chrome part, and the Hemi sticker is also a separate part, whereas in the Maisto model you just have it painted on. So moving on to the interior, Maisto only expressed the wood trim and the door handles on the top, but the Motormax car even painted the little switches over here, and they even expressed the door locks over here, which really made my day. I really love the small attention to detail. However, it is really hard to determine which car is better in the interior other than that though. The Maisto version expressed the clock on the center dash right there, but it doesn't have a screen in the center. And it has a simple gear shifter, but it has the box underneath it that letters park, reverse, neutral, and drive. While on the Motormax version, you don't have a clock, but you do have a screen in the center. And while this gear knob has this beautiful wood trim, it doesn't have any lettering on the box underneath it. Both cars have no carpet and have very cheap looking seats, but the Maisto version has the power seats expressed, while the Motormax version remains unpainted. Just in case you guys are wondering, here is the rear seats of the Motormax Chrysler. And I love how it has a big door angle, because Maisto cars usually have really small door angles even if the rear door is open. Not too much to see on the roof, but the Motormax version has a sunroof, which is always better than nothing. The Maisto car doesn't have a sunroof, but it has this roof antenna here. So let's move on to the rear. One notable difference is that the Motormax version has heated windshields, got these lines over here, and the brake lamp is painted on the body, while the Maisto car doesn't have heated seats, heated windows, and it has a sticker for the assistance brake light here instead. Again, both lights have very big pegs. The Motormax version uses the Maisto version uses a sticker for the rear Chrysler logo here, while the Motormax version uses a separate emblem part for the logo there. They both have opening trunks, but I just can't get the Motormax car to open. I'm afraid of scratching or breaking it. The Motormax version expressed the parking sensors down here, and the exhausts are pretty much the same on both of the cars. Here is the undercarriage. They both did a very good job. The one on the right is the Maisto Chrysler, and the one on the left is a Motormax Chrysler. But I think the Motormax Chrysler is a little bit more detailed. Although, to be honest, I don't really care all that much about the undercarriage details because, well, it's not the part of the car you see every day. And last but not least, the Maisto car comes with a suspension, while the Motormax version doesn't. So in conclusion, personally I think the Motormax version is slightly better than the Maisto Chrysler due to the rear opening doors, windows, and little attention to detail, although the Maisto version comes very, very close. Like I said, this doesn't mean that all Maisto cars are worse than Motormax. Actually, it's probably the opposite, mainly because Motormax is the brand that many collectors want to avoid, um, while the Maisto is pretty much known for its quality per price. But I guess this could be a suggestion that Motormax occasionally does produce some nice cars as well. Anyway, that wraps up this video. If you've enjoyed it, please click like and subscribe. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Tell me what I should be doing. And I'll see you guys in a future video.